Welcome to another episode of The Modern Hotelier. We're excited to release this conversation with Fredrick Schoener, the brand director at Silverstone Inns. David, what were some of your favorite takeaways from this conversation?
Well, I thought it was great kind of hearing a perspective of the membership versus franchise model and just the enthusiasm behind really helping hotels, be more profitable and not going to be beholden to the bigger brands or franchises. So for me, it was a very educational piece.
Yeah, this was a fun one. We don't talk about franchises or franchise models much, so this was a good change of pace. And Fredrick is a lifetime hotelier. He's been in hotels and hotel management for a long time, obviously knows his stuff, and seems like he's onto something here with Silverstone Inns. So excited to follow their journey and see how it goes. But enjoy the episode and let us know what you think in the comments.
Enjoy it. Welcome to The Modern Hotelier, the most engaged podcast in hospitality. Don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you think about today's episode. Steve, who do we have on the program today?
Yeah, David, excited for this conversation. We have a lifetime hotelier joining us today. We have Fredrick Schoener, the brand director at Silverstone Inns. Thanks for joining us, Fredrick. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
So, Fredrick, we're going to go through a quick lightning round, some questions, get to know your background, personal details, career, and then dive into some industry topics. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. So what is something that you wish you were better at?
Handball.
Ooh. What's your most used emoji?
Thumbs up.
What's a luxury you can't live without?
A really good dark roast coffee.
That's John, too. If you had a time machine and you could go into the future or the past, which way are you going and what year are you going to go to?
Maybe 20 years ago, I had some people pass away. I'd love to still talk with them,
That's great. What's the best piece of advice you've received?
Positive mental attitude. So if you have that PMA, you're going to do really well.
Got it. All right. Last one. What's your favorite city and why?
Las Vegas.
Ooh.
I love Las Vegas because it is something that, we're in Spokane, Washington, so it's an hour and a half, 2-hour flight. And I'm telling you that if you're in the hotel industry, hospitality for restaurants or hotels, you can kind of see what's going on. And it's top notch. You got to love it.
Got it. Makes sense. Was just there. Loved it.
Absolutely. Well done, Fredrick. You were prepared for that lightning round. That was quick. So now we're going to move on to your background. So we were talking a little bit before the show, and you were born on the East Coast and then moved to the West Coast to Washington and grew up there. How did being born on the East Coast and then growing up on the West Coast shape you into who you are today?
It's kind of weird because I really didn't understand the East Coast philosophy or way of life, but my parents definitely let me know. So when I was young, all I kept hearing is, these West Coast people all the time. That's what I would hear. And it's kind of interesting because they were East Coast people. The food was better on the East Coast. This was better on the East Coast. That's what I always hear. But it really shaped me into understanding what East Coast people felt like. And I grew up in the West Coast.
It's great.
That's funny. Trust me, I moved from the East Coast to Phoenix, and all we talk about is how the food is not as good back as it was back east. So you've worked in hotels your whole life.
Yeah.
What got you interested in hospitality, and what makes you so passionate about it?
Well, it's kind of funny. When you're young, you don't understand what type of career path you're going to have.
Right.
So I was working into the fast food industry, and I thought, man, this is not fun. Food is kind of gross. I didn't really like what was going on there. And actually, it was kind of funny. My mom got me a job at a hotel. She convinced the general manager to hire me. At the time, it's not like now where you can just get a job easily. This was back in the day where you had to know somebody to get a job, even as a front desk clerk. So she convinced the general manager. And when he talked to me, he goes, "Are you going to work at Walmart, or are you just going to use this as a stepping stone?" And I thought, no, I like this. I didn't know. but I just told him that, I like hotels, and I got into it. What a difference. So fun. I really love people. I love the whole concept of everything, and that's why I continued in hospitality.
That's great. And you seem to be pretty good at it. You were named Howard Johnson's International National Salesperson of the Year in 2003 and 2005. I believe you're you were definitely the first, and you still might be the only person who's won in back-to-back conferences. One of the things that helped you in 2005 win was this campaign that was called Cars Eat Free. Can you tell us a little bit more about that marketing campaign and how it came to you?
Well, when gas all of a sudden started to increase, everybody was freaking out, and I thought, "Wow, what could we do to make ourselves marketable as a hotel next to a gas station?" So I went over to the gas station and I thought, "Well, what if we did this thing, cars eat free?" Because, breakfast was something that was always free. Other things were free, but cars eat free. Everybody started thinking about that when the price of gas was going skyrocketing. And that's what happened. It was so popular at the time. We used to give, I'm trying to remember exactly, but you buy a room, you get $20 off your room rate in gas.
Wow.
Wow.
Can you imagine how many people would that's like a full tank at that time, was a full tank of
Yeah.
gas. Not now, at that time was a full tank of gas, so extremely marketable. So,
Yeah.
very good.
What a great idea. What a great idea. So now we're going to dive into your career, how you ended up at Silverstone. So, like we kind of spoke about, you worked in hotels earlier in your career, but then you became the president of Hotel Market Solutions, and you also owned a Fairbridge hotel. How did your perspective change from working in a hotel to being president on the management side?
Well, it really was a different philosophy at the time. We at Fairbridge Hotels, we thought kinda similar to what we're thinking now, that there is a better way to do things in the franchise model. Hotel owners were really at the time thinking that, franchise is the way to go, but is there an alternative? And there was a lot at the time. You have to think about in Spokane. It's kind of funny. It's like we always talk about what's in the water here in Spokane. Magnuson Hotels was from here. Red Lion Hotels was from here. Fairbridge Hotels, which I co-founded, was here as well. So, wow, it's just like amazing just here in Spokane, Washington, what we were able to accomplish. But we kinda moved on from that, and now we're at, Silverstone.
That's great. So in 2014, you became CEO of Hotel Success Now and executive director at GNW Hospitality. What's the secret to run a successful business in hospitality?
You know, I always felt like a small town feel is where you need to be. So, all these hotel management companies, and there's a lot of great ones, and I don't talk bad about those guys, but in reality, you know, the small time guy that's got 8, 10, 12, 15 hotels, he's gonna service your hotel a lot more than somebody who's got 100 hotels. And that's the philosophy that we had, and I feel like if we grew to the another level, we would rather take a hit in revenue and provide the service rather than just be this big conglomerate.
Absolutely. Well said. So, for the past 4 years, you've been the brand director at Silverstone Inns. For those that might not be familiar, can you tell us a little bit more about Silverstone?
So Silverstone is a membership model. So if you're used to a franchise, you're going to pay a certain percent, 12, 15%, somewhere in there. We thought, well, how are you going to make money, especially today? How are you gonna make money today? Because insurance rates have skyrocketed, labor costs have skyrocketed, cost of goods has skyrocketed, so what are you going to do to try to make money as a hotel owner? So we came up with Flag Smart, Profit More.
Nice.
How are you
Okay.
gonna do that? Well, a membership model with a low monthly fee. You get the same services as you would of any particular brand. That's how you would make money.
That's great. And how many properties do you currently have?
Well, right now we have 2
Okay.
properties. So we're early in, so we're looking for early adopters. So I've done this before. We got up to a bunch of hotels. In reality, it's not like it used to be. Franchises in the mindset of young people is a little bit different. Gen Z, what do they think? It's kind of funny. I have 2 kids. They're both in their early 20s. And I asked them just today, I said, "So if you were going to go to LA, what hotel would you go to?" If you asked me that when I was 21 or 22, I would have said the best hotel possible. I would have been a Marriott, a Hilton, high end, whatever it was. But my daughter says, "Well, I would first look at the price." Whoa, the price? Not the brand? Okay, the price. And then I said, "So then what would you look at? Location. Location to the venue you're going to? Yeah, that's what I would look at." "Oh, that's pretty interesting." So what would make your decision? Just, price, reviews, and that's it. Not brand. And it's kind of interesting because when I was young, especially in high school, you always thought everybody who had a Nike shirt or Nike shoes or
Right.
Reebok or this or that, they were the popular kids. Those are the ones that, set the trends. Now it's not so much. They're like, I asked her, I said, "So what do you like to wear? What do you like to do?" She's like, "I don't want no logos on my shirt.
Yeah,
None. Like you, Steve. Black. That's
that's
it."
right.
There's nothing going on there, right? So that's kinda how I thought of the same time. It's like, wow, things have changed quite a bit from when I was young, you
That's
know?
I'm gonna take that as a compliment. Like, you just kinda called me cool or hip there, so I'm gonna take that one. Uh,
You're
but
cool, bud.
and you're 100% right, though. It's so funny, like, clothing back in the day when I was in college and stuff, like, you wore name brand clothing. Now, like, thrifting is a huge thing where people wanna get a bargain. They wanna
Mhm.
it doesn't matter about the logo or anything like that. So,
You know what's funny about that, Steve?
what's
This
that?
is the new hotel owner. This is
Yeah,
who they're gonna be. Gen Z are going to inherit or move on to the ownership of the hotels. How are you gonna relate to them? Silverstone Inns? That's the type of product that they're looking for.
absolutely. You're positioned well here. So, well, that is great. So now we're going to dive into the thought leadership portion of this podcast. So you mentioned that Silverstone Inn's membership model is a little different from traditional franchising. Can you tell us a little bit more about why you chose this path?
Whenever I looked at a hotel owner, I did a lot of consulting in my day, and I would look at the super thick agreement that they would have, 2 inches thick, and I was like, nobody knows what's going on in there, right? And I thought, how can you make a better model? But then even with all that knowledge that I have in working with owners, I thought, where do you go to get the most information? You go to hotel owners. And hotel owners, the largest group in the United States is AHOA, the Asian American Hotel Owners Association, 20,000 members, hotel owners all around.
Yeah.
What did they come up with? What they came up with was the 12 points of fair franchising. Those 12 points are integral to Silverstone Inns. So, reasonable agreements, area of protection, liquidated damages, all those sort of things where you are signing up, but you don't wanna give your life away. You don't wanna give your firstborn, your blood, your whatever they want from you, right? And that's how I always feel. It's like they've got you. And Silverstone, we don't want to be if you wanna join Silverstone Inns, you wanna join, we want you as a partner. If you don't wanna be Silverstone Inns, that's okay. It should be a relationship like that. You go, you come because you see the value in it, not because you're hold tight. And
Absolutely.
that's the difference between us and the franchises.
Yeah, shout out Laura Lee Blake on that one. She actually talked about those 12 points when she was on our podcast a
Oh,
year or
yeah?
2 ago. So, yeah, it's great. It's great for franchising.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so maybe dive a little bit deeper into that. So, what are the benefits, challenges that you've seen for the owners of hotels under membership model versus the franchise model?
Well, you can't make a profit.
Mm,
Our tagline is "Flag smart, profit more." So let's just say a scenario. So you've got a hotel, it makes let's just say you have a mid-scale hotel, 80, 100 rooms, you make $2,000,000. Your NOI is 500,000. Out of that, you gotta pay your debt service. let's just say it's 400,000. So at the end of the day, on $2 million in revenue, I'm just taking general numbers. You make $100,000. What if you have a capital item that needs to be done? What if your labor increases? And this is true too. I've seen insurance rates go from $30,000 to $70,000 or above within a year. What do you do? So you thought you were going to break even, you're underwater now. When you're with Silverstone Inns, you can weather the storm. When things are good and you can make money, you're going to make a lot of money. And when things are bad, you can weather the storm. And that's really what Silverstone is. And I feel like that's the future of what, whether hotel franchising or membership or whatever this comes out to, is going to happen here in the next few years.
So, as you start to, or as you continue to build this membership model, it's a newer thing in hospitality, the membership versus franchise ownership. How do you not only attract new owners to hoteliers, but also support and retain them as well?
Well, you have to understand that hotel owners are really profit driven, right? That's really what it comes down to. They are not, at the end of the day, you could have the most shiny hotel in the world. You could have everything that you want. But if you're not making money, it's pretty rough. So Silverstone's Inns kind of comes in and takes that model and makes you make money. That scenario of the $2 million, if you could make an extra $250,000 on top of that, what are you gonna do? And at the end of the day, the brands aren't as, gosh, what do you say? They don't they don't have the same pull that they used to back in the day. 10 years ago, maybe more. 15 years ago, even more than that. 20 years ago, even more than that. But today, not as much as what they used to do. So what do they do? They piggyback on other revenue distribution is what they do.
Mhm.
And, if you're a hotel owner that goes, "Oh, I see that most of my revenue comes from the OTAs, groups, high occupancy times, and all these sort of things," you thought, "Well, what am I paying this extra 15% for? Why?"
Yeah.
That's a really good point. So, can you share a turning point or maybe a success story where the membership model really made a difference for ownership or a specific property?
So, there was a hotel that we first started off with, and it was one of the top 5 major franchises in the world, thousands of hotels. The hotel was not performing, really subpar revenue, subpar. So what did the owner do? The owner went to the brand. "Can you help me out?" When you go to conferences, what is it like? You've been to conferences, I'm sure. Shaking hands,
Mhm.
smiles, good drinks, lots of friends. Great. You know, super good. At the end of the day, you have an issue. My hotel needs some help. I can't afford to keep this going. So what are you gonna do for me? Because at conference, you're ready to, "Hey, we'll do whatever you need," right?
Mhm.
In reality, you go, "Hey, you know what I need? I need a reduction in franchise fees for the next 2 years. Can you help me out?" Like, I'm not saying just give me free. I'm just saying reduce it a little bit so I can get ahead and pay you and continue on. You know what the answer was? No,
No.
absolutely not. Look at your franchise agreement. Do you know what you signed up for? Uh, that's not gonna happen, right? So the owner went and just thought, "This is just not worth it." And
Yeah.
most of the rooms that were coming uh, from the hotel were OTAs, super busy times, events in the area, and things like that. So it wasn't really from the brand itself. So
Right.
he switched to Silverstone Inns, he saved over $150,000 a year
Wow.
just by switching. Because our model is, we have fees, but they're reasonable and
Mhm.
you can still make money. And in reality, most of the hotels, even though the brands try to push, direct bookings and all this sort of thing, most every year that I talk to all my Expedia and Booking.com and all those reps, they keep increasing. They keep increasing in revenue. And it's not that you just want that revenue. No, you want direct bookings as well. But because you're on the OTAs, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Billboard effect.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, the Billboard effect.
Yep.
They say, oh, well, the Billboard effect, 2009, Cornell did a study, 2017, they did another study, and all these sort of things. In reality, if you're on that site, let's say you're at 15% on booking or whatever the OTA is, right? You make more bookings because you're on that site. So you have to look at that and go, well, I'm paying 15%, but actually I might be paying 12% or 11% because I'm getting more direct bookings just because I'm on that site. And even as a hotelier who wants to book direct, I will look there first,
Yeah.
which is
Right.
weird. I'm a hotel guy. I know to book direct, but I'm going to start here. So that just tells you.
Yeah. I,
That's a good
I
point.
booked the same way. I narrow down the location on Expedia and then I go look direct. So we're in the same boat on that one.
Sacrilege, my friend, sacrilege. You shouldn't do that.
I know I shouldn't even visit the site, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So
It's so funny that you say that, because back in the day, early on in my career, travel agents were big time,
Mhm.
right? Big time. Travel agent, if you could get a travel agent booking you 10% all day long, you were all for them, right? 15% with an OTA, the hell with them. No, I don't want these guys. No, it's so weird to me. I don't understand it at all. I don't. You know, it's just part of the makeup of the business. I always think of a hotel industry as a ladder, right? Room generation. When we're with Silverstone Inns, you're on a ladder. So every step is a room generation. So it could be OTAs, direct bookings. Maybe you have a local program, a medical program, promotions with the OT. You create this big ladder. And if things go bad, well, maybe you go down a little bit because, so many revenue generations is down, but you're not going to go all the way to the bottom. And that's the way I look at it. Hotel industry is you have to create as much revenue generation as possible.
Well said, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree with you, if not everybody. So,
Yeah.
uh, looking ahead in the hospitality industry and how it's evolving, how do you think Silverstone Inns is set up to adapt to the changes in hospitality, or even lead the changes in hospitality?
Well, there are three things that are going to happen, I think. There's a cultural shift, number one. So, if you're a Gen Z person, things are way different than if you're older. And that's the new, that's the new group that's the new generation that's going to come up and stay at a hotel. So, you have to kind of move towards what they're looking for. And what are they looking for? Technology. It's kind of sad to say, but, they may pick a hotel not on Google, but maybe on AI, and if AI says go here, maybe you go there. That's kind of interesting because I don't know about you guys, just personal question. How many times have you gone to Google lately compared to ChatGPT or something AI?
I'm like 50-50 these days.
Yeah.
I go to AI, and AI just keeps going up and up and up more.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I agree.
So what's going to happen is whoever, so, back to the brands. So it kind of makes a level playing field. So if you're an independent, you have the same level playing field as a major brand if you are using what AI is looking for specifically. Like say, I want a hotel close to this avenue. I have this event. I want this type of, amenity and so forth. I don't know if that's gonna produce what the brands are doing or just what's close. So all of a sudden you became somebody who is down here, you're up here with the rest of these guys because AI is going to it's not gonna exclude you. It's going to
mhm.
make you right with them. So it's different. things are going to change.
Yeah, as I'm listening to you, I have a off the cuff question. So one of the challenges with SEO is that hotels couldn't afford to buy keywords for
Mhm.
pay per click and things of that nature. So, what are your thoughts? Do you think that kind of AI and like that realm is they're gonna shift to make money, where it's gonna start being a pay to play situation where it's gonna be the same? It's just gonna be like a SEO 2.0 or Google 2.0, where if you don't buy the keyword or you don't buy this or buy that, you're not going to show up.
I don't know if that's possible with AI. I think AI is a different type of format. Um, every time I go back to okay, so we were talking about Google searches and you said 50%, Steve. So I go back and I'm less than that. I'm maybe 10% now, maybe, because it doesn't give me the answer I want.
Right.
So that might happen, David. I don't know for
Right.
sure, but from what I can tell, I don't know how you do that. Maybe you do. Maybe they're gonna come up with something, but for right now, from what I can tell, it seems like it's just if you're going to create content that is what AI is looking for, that's what's gonna come up. Because you really like, the example I gave earlier, if you're 2 blocks away to this event and this, it's gonna give you the most accurate. It can't really, maybe it will, I don't know, but if you paid to get on there and to have the
Right. Yeah.
search put you ahead of time, it's not gonna be as accurate as what it would take away from what AI actually is, I think.
Right.
But, we'll
No,
see
it's a good
what
point. Yeah.
happens. I mean, somebody's gotta make money somehow, right, on this
Yeah.
stuff, but
That's what I was thinking. So I'm just as you were talking, that's where I went. But that's good.
yeah, it's a really great question. I don't know. Like, who knows what's gonna happen? But for right now, from what I can tell, whenever I travel, I'm putting in those exact searches what I just said, right? Exactly. So I can get the best accurate, and it's been great, using it all the time.
That's great. That's great. So, Frederick, I have one more question. You're a lifetime hotelier. What advice do you have for somebody who might be interested in getting into hotels or even hospitality itself?
So, work from the ground up. That's all I can tell you. Work from the ground up. I know there's degrees and I know there's all these things, there's all these stuff that you can go online, but work, there's nothing like, and I feel like I'm in the trenches as well. I work with hotels consistently. I work with hiring. I work with firing. I work with scheduling. I work with everything that you can imagine in the hotel industry because if you don't do that, there's no way you're fresh. There's no way you know the pulse of what's going on in the industry. That's what you have to do to actually make it to me in this, and if you shine to the top because you're great, that's going to be noticed. If you're average, not so much. But if you really, really take into hold of the hotel industry, you're going to do really well. You're going to move up.
Well said. Well said. Good advice. Good advice. So, Frederick, this has been a great conversation. We've been asking you questions this whole time. So now we're going to turn the tables and let you ask David and I a question.
Okay. How do you feel franchise agreements will be in the next 10 years?
Oh my goodness.
I know that's a big loaded question, but
David, do you want to handle this one first or you want me to take this one?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it seems it's not really my world. My world's been much more on the independent side, but it
Mhm,
seems it's going to get tougher and tougher because the brands are buying up all the lifestyle and independent
mhm,
brands that have, started to get substantial mass. And I think as that happens, obviously the control and the power is going to be stronger in that the franchises and the brands, the chains, whatever you want to call them. So for me, I think it's a little scary if you're independent because there's so much movement, and as soon as you start to do well, you get these companies are getting brands are getting gobbled up. So I don't know how that affects the franchise agreements, but I think the brands like the OTAs are just getting stronger and stronger, which is I think unfortunate, but I think it's just a fact of life.
mhm.
Yeah, I'm kind of on David's side. I'm not a don't I haven't seen too many franchise agreements in person in my life, but you know, two things. I think I love what Silverstone is doing, offering an alternative to the traditional franchise model, and I think we're gonna see more of that. One thing I know just dealing with technology in hotels is, I am always an advocate for giving guests a choice of what technology to use or how to engage with a hotel through technology or through a person. So I think we're almost going to cross my fingers here. Maybe we'll see a little bit of differences in these models. Like maybe Silverstone is starting a trend here where it's not just going to be traditional franchise models, but we're going to see, okay, you have a membership with Silverstone, you have a more flexible agreement with XYZ Group, and then you have the traditional franchise model. So maybe seeing different types of models coming out in the future as well.
No, that's you guys are great. This is my personal opinion. Within the next 10 years, if the franchise models don't change, they're gonna go the way of Blockbuster Video.
Ooh.
Hmm.
That's what I feel, because every industry, it's like most industries have had it, not most, but a lot of them have, like taxis. You don't take a taxi no more, right? You don't rent videos no more. You don't do all these sort of things, but why hasn't the hotel industry changed? Well, it's huge. You would think, "Oh, that will never happen." That's never gonna happen. These guys are gonna be here forever. That's not the case. When culture shifts change, which I feel is happening now with Gen Z and then further on, that is going to change the way people actually want to, well, make money, first of all.
Right.
Look at Subway, by the way. Look at Subway franchise, biggest franchise in the world, almost next to McDonald's. I mean, insane, right? But hotel owners are shuddering. They don't make money. Hotel industry is the Subway. I really feel that way because they are not making money. They're not. I deal with hotels. I don't care if it's a top end hotel, mid tier hotel, economy hotel. All of them are feeling the burn right now. Why? Because the franchise are dictating. It's not just the fees. It's not just the fees. It's the dings, right? You got some bad scores, so we're going to charge you this sort of thing. We're going to do a QA and you failed even though you're a beautiful hotel. We're going to do a recertification and all this sort of thing. And I always think, wow, this is just keep continuing. And then a new thing has happened. If you want revenue management, the brand provides it. That's another couple $1,000s. If you want sales, oh, the brand will provide that. Another couple $1,000s. All of a sudden, your franchise fee is $20,000 a month. Can you make that sort of payment? And I think the newer generations are looking right through that. They do not fall for it at all. At all. So things are going to change quite a bit, I think, in the next 10 years.
Do you think the younger generation is going to move? Like, okay, say the younger generation is getting into hotels and hospitality. Do you think they're going to be drawn more to the independent side, or do you think they are going to be drawn to more of the brand side as well?
I think there's going to be loosely branded hotels because technology is moving to such a point where you don't really need the brand. Like I was saying, my kids, they don't really care about a brand and they're Gen Z. They really don't. They look at other things. I mean, brand might be a part of it, but it's like fifth,
Mhm.
fourth of their decision making. So, what is going on? Like the brands have to be talking about it. If they're not, Blockbuster, my friend, Blockbuster. You better, because if you don't, things are changing so fast. You better move forward or things are gonna happen to where you're not relevant anymore. Relevant and the other thing is transparency. I just wanna bring that up real quick. Transparency, loyalty programs. So, when you talk to people, do they talk about loyalty programs at all? You
Not a
know,
lot.
with the
No,
brands?
no, not a lot.
So, a lot of brands say, "I have 100 million members," this many members. So who are active? Who are duplicate? All these people that stayed, if they don't redeem, do I get my money back at the hotel? No, you don't. If you question that, you're shunned. You're just shunned because it's a whole different world. That's not gonna happen anymore. In the next 10 years, that's also gonna get, you know, figured out because members, let's just take a look. If you are a member of Expedia and you're on their platform, Booking.com, how many members do you have? Over 200 million.
Yeah.
200 million members just from that alone. So if you do something at the hotel, that's a perks program. Things are going to change. Like, this is kind of future things. I really feel the future is going to change. And the hold that they have right now, I don't know what's going to happen. That's why Silverstone.
Silverstone. Well, this has been great, Fredrick. Our producer, John, he's been listening to this conversation the whole time. So we're going to kick it over to him for one final question before we get you out of here.
Awesome. Love your enthusiasm for everything. And I think you're onto something with brands going downhill. You see, like you've mentioned, like kids don't want logos on their stuff anymore. And I think that's really interesting. Anyway, with all of your experience and everything, what you've seen, and with the mindset or the thought of future and the things you've brought up, what are you seeing some of the best hoteliers? You mentioned like a lot of hotels are struggling, maybe not making the revenue, the profit that they want. What are you seeing the ones that are succeeding? What are the things that they're doing that you can point to?
Oh, man, that's a great question. So what they're doing is local. What they're doing locally, it's management, it's customer service, it's everything to do with their local market. So they are going out into that, it's funny, it's kind of an old school thought, but everything within a 5-mile radius, they are touching that, right? Sales wise. They are making sure that they're promotion heavy on the OTAs. They're not just relying on what the brands are going to do, because this is a very interesting thing. So let's say you do a promotion on the OTAs, right? The brands are going to say, well, you can't do that. You need to do that promotion on our site as well. So all of a sudden, your promotion on the OTA is the rate on the brand. So they say, look what we've done for you. We've done all this, all these rooms. Well, because I've done these promotions on the OTAs. So it's just kind of funny to me that, they're always trying to piggyback and make money on what you're doing already. So localization is going to be the biggest thing ever. What experiences you can have at the local hotel, even if it's a roadside. What if you're close to 10 miles away, you're close to some sort of venue, a park or some sort of amusement park or things like that. You can piggyback on that even as a roadside. That's never happened before, because before all you were was a roadside. But now, because of the internet, oh, you mean I could save $30 and stay at this roadside and go 10 miles and go to this venue? That's going to happen because of AI. And AI is going to make that possible if you take advantage of it.
That's great. Well, that does it for another episode of The Modern Hotelier. This is where we let people know how they can get in touch with Silverstone, how they can connect with you.
All right. Just go to silverstoneins.com or find me on LinkedIn, Fredrick Schoener.
All right. That's great. Well, that does it for another episode of The Modern Hotelier, hospitality's most engaged podcast. Whether you're watching or listening, we appreciate you and hope to be with you again soon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
You made it to the end of The Modern Hotelier. Thanks for watching or listening. The Modern Hotelier is produced by Modern Hotelier Media. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're listening on YouTube, or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you know a good guest, sponsor, or have media needs, feel free to reach out to us at hello@themodernhotelier.com. Thanks and have a great day.